Well, I'm Andre Faust on this mighty fine August 29th, 2018. I'm doing my first flight with my husband. 109S Pro has been laid up for a while. I've got all my parts and we're now in operation. Recently we had several thunderstorms and really bad weather, and I did lose the tree, not on the first one but on the second one. But it was amazing. The tree that went down was at a large silver maple, probably 120 feet. And right now, as you can see, I'm now navigating towards the root bulb. Now that sucker's about 12 feet high if I were to stand right at the base to the top of it. So this was an enormously large tree. Now I still got to figure out on what to do with it. So to give an idea of the magnitude of this tree, I'm going to do a slow pass over. Now, one thing I need to point out is that I'm running 3 blades on this quadcopter. There's four propellers, but they each have 3 blades. So the quad is a lot more responsive than what I was expecting. Also, that I'm flying first-person view. So what you see on the screen is what I was seeing on my screen, and as you can see, that is very tunnel vision, and that's what makes flying first-person view difficult, because you don't have that large peripheral window, and it's difficult to judge distances. So you can see that I'm approaching things quite cautiously here. I'm stopping, and I'm actually, doing the mind calculations to where those branches are. Now, I'll only be taking some height just a couple times. Most of the time I'll be staying between 10 and 15 feet in elevation. Now I'm going up a bit there because I know there's some trees, and I don't want to catch those branches with my propeller, because this time I don't have propeller guards. Now I'm tilting my camera downwards, so we're actually looking down at the ground. So this tree is laying down. And I have a shed there as well, but you can't see it because the tree has it covered. Like I said, I was quite surprised. I was sitting in my office after the storm. Actually, it was the next day. And I said, gee, this thing seems to be quite bright. I looked, and, well, I was surprised, I guess. I went, holy shit, man. Now that tree, I planted that, well, I didn't plant it, my brother did back in 1963, I think. So it was just like 4 inches high. Well, this tree grew up to be a beast of about 110, 120 feet in height. Right now we're seeing my river shore, my beach, that's the St. John River, taking a look at. So I'm slowly panning back down. To give, again, I'm using this for references, and there's a good shot of the St. John River. That's southbound, and I dropped my cameras down. Now, I've tilted my camera, so what's happening here, we're looking behind the quad. So what you're seeing there is my house, my trailer, and one of my sheds, and you can see my boat. But that's actually showing behind the quad, and that was just me playing around, and that's all. I'm now descending some. Again, like I say, I got to keep paying attention to trees, and you're hearing my camera. I've got it turned a little too much, so I'm putting some stress on the servo. That little trailer there, that was my home when I was driving the Reversing Falls jet boat rides for about 5 years. The boat that you see, I've used that out in the Bay of Fundy, doing some sea urchin diving with a wonderful crew, Lawrence and Jack Flynn. Memorable moments in Campobello that was. Again, I'm trying to, give you an idea of, this tree and what I'm going to have to deal with when it comes time to do the cleanup. I'm not looking forward for that day. Now, what I'm probably going to try to do is over the year and through the winter, just slowly cut at it. I don't know how many cords of wood I can get out of that. That's a maple, so it's a, I'd say a semi-hard tree. It's not, hardwood in the true sense, but it is a hardwood, but not in the true sense. Don't ask me how that come about. That's speak to the, I don't know what you call a borealist or something like that. Maybe Chris Sizemart could throw light on the hardness of that tree. I'm sure not an expert into it, but all I know is it's a harder wood than the pine that I took down 3 months ago in the beginning of June. And you can see I'm moving quite quick, so I've got pretty good control over the quad. If you had followed some of my early videos, I was not quick. I don't know if you caught it there, but there was old mongrel nut there. Another excellent shot of the St. John River. And I think that's the experimental farm on the other side. And that, so now I'm kind of pulling away in reverse. Now, I could have did a 180-degree turn, but again, because of the proximity of branches, I don't want to take no chance. No propeller guards. I'm looking at, through first-person view. They could be branches that's not in my field of vision. So, it's a different experience from flying it line of sight. And of course, that's how I learned to fly these quads, was line of sight. In all directions, away from me, towards me, sideways, up, down. And I used some very primitive little drones that didn't have no altitude hold or anything GPS hold or any of that fancy kind of stuff that this quad here has, but I think it's made me a better pilot. And I'm doing it just a quick pan and you can see the pine branches. That's from the early pine that I had cut down. Now we're taking a look at the back of my house and my work shed and my ambition there where I cut some, again those all come from trees that have come down. That wood there you've seen came from when we had a hurricane. That tree right in front of me, I forget what kind of tree it is, but it's dead. It's on the chopping block. It's big enough that I can cut it myself. I don't have to hire an external party to cut that dead tree. And that, so that's on my do. Will I do it? I'm not talking about it 5 years from now. It's just one of those kind of things, because there always seems to be priorities that always seems to crop up when you put things in your bucket list. So another little pan, and in a few minutes I'm going to actually do a fly through, and again there I'm testing to see if I can, well, I'm pretty confident that I can do it, but it's a new experience. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to fly between the trailer and the shop to get around to get a look at that tree from the backside. So with caution I approach. Like I say, all I see on my screen is what you see on your screen. I have no peripheral vision, so I've got to get it fit through there. Ooh, there's a branch. That was a close one. And it seems so far so good. Nothing's gone too crazy. The old canoe, I bought that in 1972. Kmart, $144. Yes, for those of you that's been around. The old Kmart on Smythe Street. So I'm doing a starboard turn. There's the old sea moss, the old urchin boat. And now we've got a view of this tree on the back side. And whatever that species in the middle, I don't know what it is, but it's got thorns onto it. And it's one of those invasive trees. If I didn't cut my lawn, it'd be growing all over the place. And I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do next here, doing some old brain kind of work here. Now I can see what's making it difficult is the sunlight is in my eyes, and I did try to do a first-person view, or excuse me, a line of sight view, and I got blinded by the sun. So I'm right now, even though it doesn't show, my vision is almost zero. There's old mongrel mutt there. He always likes to make a scene. I guess he wants to be a movie star or something to that effect, but he appears and disappears. So at this point, I'm making a decision. I'm saying I'm going to go around the house. There's old Mongrel Mutt Tuesday, and so we're, I guess, northeasterly bound. My neighbor to my right, and I'm boogieing around. Like I said, I'm keeping it low because there's still a lot of branches, and you know, I don't want to damage the quad. Even though I can do a lot of the electronic work myself, it can become an expensive ordeal. Now, what you're seeing there is the remain of my big old pine tree, and if you've seen earlier videos, I videoed that tree long before I cut it, and I had no choice but to cut it. There was a stress fracture that was developing, and the way it would have fallen, and it was going to fall, it would have hit my neighbor's house, it would have crushed them, there would have been death, mayhem, all those kinds of unpleasantries. So I had to bring somebody in and cut that tree, and I had 11 hours to do it because each day the crack was expanding by 0.95 millimeters. So we're on the track back. Again, I'm doing this all backwards. I'm trying to fly in between this narrow passage. I could have went, you know, 40 feet overhead and, you know, 100, 200 feet, not worry about any of these things. Part of the damage from the tree coming down in that storm that we had several weeks ago. And like I say, this quad's is very responsive, and I'm not used to it. So in a way, my emotions are a little bit jerky. It's not the quad, it's me. Okay, yeah, fine looking fella there, the operator. Okay, and there's a dog in behind. So now I'm getting ready to land on my helicopter pad. Ooh boy, it's really official. And I'm doing this first person view, and I try to keep it steady. I've got a wind, about 15 kilometer wind, and we are going to have a touchdown shortly. So thanks for catching this. Until next time, I'm Andre Faust.